Hey, and welcome to another edition of North Mississippi Game Day. I'm Ronnie Williams, joined by Josh Guest, and we're here at the studios at the Town Place Suites in Oxford, the Charter Road Hospitality. So thank those guys, thank Domino's Pizza. And Josh, man, we're in the state championship game starting this Thursday.
We are, and man, some good matchups throughout 1A to 7A. And so, of course, we're covering North teams. So I don't know if that means we have to root for the North teams and that kind of thing, but I think we think some North teams are going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, of course, I've kind of been doing a little scouting and looking at some other teams this week, and I do like our chances in just about every matchup this week. Usually, the North doesn't win them all, but I like our chances.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, again, when you get to this point, we talked about it in the North half with some of the matchups, in North half last week. When you get to this point, all the teams are really good. So you got if you're there, you got to like your chances.
Well, I know, our first game we're going to talk about is the 1A. It's Thursday at 4 o'clock. Moon City 12-1 on the season, taking on Simmons, who's 12-0 on the season. And kind of a unique deal about that, Simmons is actually located in the north half of the state. They're just west of Lexington. So Hollandale Simmons is who they were. They're Simmons. So you got two teams that have matched up three times in the past. Calhoun City leads the all-time series 2-1, and all three times they were in the playoffs: 2010, 2011. Calhoun City won, and 2005 Simmons won, but they were all in the playoffs.
So, and that's that whole thing I imagine where they just kind of take the northernmost half and the southernmost half, and they draw a line wherever that happens to be for that size school.
Just got
So
to get those numbers right.
that's
And
right.
we talk about Calhoun City being 12-1. Their quarterback Harlan Pittman, 83 of 127, 1390, 17 touchdowns, and one interception. He's also 61 carries, 599 yards, 11 touchdowns. And then they have Demarius Pittman, 92 carries, 760 yards in 11 games. So he's missed a couple of games this year, 17 touchdowns for him. Coach MD Jennings, sixth season, 50 and 21. Um, he lost to Taylorsville in his first season, uh, 42-0 in the state championship back in 2020. I think he's looking to try to get Calhoun City their third state championship.
Well, and I think Calhoun City's only loss between either team is Senatobia when they were hot early in the
Right.
season, right?
That's
Yeah.
it. So Calhoun City, as we talked about last week, they're 2-10 all time in the state championship games. Coach Mike Moore won that first one back in 1989. They beat Bay Springs, and Coach Perry Lyles won it in 2016 by beating Bay Springs. So a different team they're going to play this year. So hopefully they can make the run here and get another state championship.
Yeah, one of two things is going to happen. Calhoun City is going to beat somebody other than Bay Springs for a state championship, or the all-time series is going to be tied at two with them between them and
That's
Simmons.
right. And I don't have any stats on Simmons. Max Preps did not have stats for Simmons, although Coach Jarvis Williams in his first season's 12-0. They did win the state championship in 2015, in 2016, and 2017. They lost it in 2005. They are 49-22 all time in the playoffs. So good team, no doubt.
Yeah,
12, you got to be good.
that's right. And three in a row back in the mid teens. That's pretty impressive.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and pick mine first because you know who I'm going to pick. I'm going Calhoun City.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going Calhoun City as well. We've been on them all year. Can't jump off now.
That's right. Not going to get off that bandwagon yet. And then the second game on Thursday, the 7 o'clock game, a team we're very familiar with, the 13-0 number one ranked West Point Green Wave, taking on the 11-2 Brookhaven Panthers in a big matchup. These two teams, I'm not sure if they've ever met before. Uh, I was trying to look it up, but I didn't see anything.
I'm unsure about that, but I'm sure you're going to get to this, Ronnie. But this is 10 championship games in a row for West Point.
Crazy.
A
Crazy.
decade every year playing for a title, and I believe they're 6-3 in the previous nine. Correct?
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
Coach, yeah, I mean, these guys are just, and we saw the 13 state championship banners they had it this year when we were over there earlier with Lafayette playing. And I mean, those guys are just itching to add a 14th.
yeah, actually today at lunch, people were talking about it, West Point, and they said they talked about moving them up in classification, and somebody said, "Well, just do it. It doesn't matter. They'll beat them too."
Coach Brett Morgan's in his second season, 24-3. They have won, as you said, 13-5 overall in the state championships. They won it in 82, 87, 88, 89, 05, 09, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 23, and 24. Lost it in 84, 02, 20, 21, and 22.
4 in a row wins for them, which is even more
Yeah,
impressive than the 3 in a row for Calhoun City. So
yeah, they are.
West Point getting it done.
Yeah, they are 84-19 all time in the playoffs. And Brookhaven, they won the 2004 state championship over Clarksdale 29-23. Lost it in 2010 to West Point 21-3. So they have met, and I believe West Point is going to be the team I'm going to choose in this one.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to throw shade on Old Brook and Brookhaven and all. I got cousins that grew up there in Brookhaven, spent a lot of time down there as a kid in the summers with my aunt and stuff, and my cousins and uncle and all. But they're going to be old broke because West Point's going to win that game. And I'm just, and it doesn't matter who it is. I'm just going to pick West Point no matter who they're playing. It's nothing
Oh,
against Brookhaven. West Point's just that team this year. They're just that dominant.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. West Point, we got to see them earlier in the year, and they just, without a doubt, the dominant team that we've seen. And we've seen a lot of teams this year, and no doubt that one. So Friday, we moved to the Class 4A, the early game, the 4 o'clock game. The Kosciuszko Whippets, 13-1, take on the Columbia Wildcats, 14-0. So, man, another one of those matchups where only one loss.
Yeah, and so Columbia down there in South Mississippi used to live not too far from there, over in Summit, and uh, got some good ball players down in that area, and that's obvious. Again, you're in the state championship, you got a good team, and so we'll see how it comes out for the Whippets versus the Wildcats, but a pair of W's there.
Yeah, the Whippets are coming in. They have two state championships, 1929, 1949. So since they started back in 1982 with the championship playoffs, they lost in 1996 to Northeast Jones, and that's their last time they've been there. They lost in 1991 and 84. So three times they've been there and lost it. And as we said, they have won it twice. 41-33 all time, and Kosciuszko is 1-0 all time over Columbia.
So they just met once. Interesting.
Yep, yep. And then Columbia, another one of these teams I don't have any stats on, but they're going for their third state championship. They won it in 1982, the first year that the playoffs started back. They beat New Albany 20-0, and in 2021 they beat Senatobia 22-21. And they have lost it to Clarksdale in 1998 and Louisville in 2023.
And Clarksdale and Louisville are two teams who are not that we're not familiar with Senatobia, but really familiar with those two teams, and perennial powerhouses in their own right.
Yep. And so Coach Chip Bilderback is 14-0. He stepped down after the 2023 season and came back this season. He's 83-12 overall in his 7 seasons at Columbia. He also spent 2 years at Perry Central, and he won the state championship in 2021. He was the head coach when they beat Senatobia. So another big matchup, but I like Kosciuszko. I guess I'm
Yeah,
going to beat most of the North teams anyway, but I do like Kosciuszko in
yeah,
this.
I'm going to go with the Whippets too. I got burnt picking against them last week. I'm not going to do it this week. Going with Kosciuszko.
Yeah, it's one of the teams I kind of been high on all year. And then the 7:30 game on Friday night is the 6A state championship. Warren Central Vikings coming in at 10-2. The Hattiesburg Tigers coming in at 12-2. Um, the Tigers, uh, one of those teams that you used to hear a lot about, Hattiesburg. So, of course, we had Warren Central. We talked about their dual threat guy, Nash Morgan. had a pretty good game last week. Uh, he, they just kind of showed everything that they had, and so we really like Warren Central in that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you too, and our boy Nash Morgan that we prepped last week with that dual threat, that almost even yardage before last week's game, rushing and passing. Warren Central is going to get it done there against the Hattiesburg Tigers.
Yeah, so I keep going back. Oh, I lost my screen. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me get it back. I keep going back to um, completely lost my screen, Josh. Hang on just a second. I'm sorry. Um, Kosciuszko and I'm sorry, Warren Central and Hattiesburg. Uh, I've lost my screen, man. Hang on. I'm sorry. Uh, we're just going to have to. We'll move on. I'm trying to get the screen back up. I know you can see me, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm still here. So, okay, I've got everything back. So, Nash Morgan last week was 9 of 10 passing for 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Um, Rushing the ball, he carried the ball 19 times for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
He decided to say he was a better runner.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of joked about that. He's kind of been their guy, and man, he's just kind of kept it all going, and just amazing what he's been able to do.
Yeah, over 300 yards, all-purpose or combined offense, whatever you want to say, for the QB in the North half game. That's getting it done right there.
Yeah, so 2-1 in state championships. They won it in '88 and '94, lost it in '93. So Warren Central, it's been a while since they've been here. They beat Ridgeland 45-42 last week. Hattiesburg a 47-27 win over Picayune, and this will be the ninth time these two teams have met. 4-4 all time. Hattiesburg has won the last two times they've met, 2010, 2011.
Chris, it's been a while. Been about 14 years since they met.
In Hattiesburg, they have a quarterback, Gavin Ducksworth. He's a junior. He's thrown for 2,200 yards this year, 23 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, and he was 11 for 18 for 150 this past week. And their running back, Davian Young, he carried the ball 10 times for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a good offensive team here.
Yeah, 14.9 a clip there for the running back at Hattiesburg. That's I think any coach would take that.
Yeah, no doubt. Hattiesburg has won state championship, beat Louisville 20-14 back on December the 5th, 1924, 101 years ago to the day that they'll be playing. I wasn't ready for that one.
Wow, that's pulling the numbers out right there.
They are 1-5 in state championships all time. They lost it in '89, '92, '95, '98, 2017, and Grenada beat them 43-14 last year. So that was I remember that when Coach Fair down there at Grenada. I remember watching that game, and I know Hattiesburg was a good team, but Grenada was just solid last year.
But yeah, absolutely.
So for this one, I'm going to go with the Warren Central Vikings and our guy Nash Morgan, who I look for him to have a big game in Hattiesburg. Uh, not really able to stop him.
I agree. I'm going Warren Central as well.
So we're all the
All
way
north the
through.
whole way so far.
Yeah, and we haven't differed at all. Saturday, there's 3 games on Saturday. The first game begins at noon. That'll have the Knoxville County Tigers, 11-3, taking on the Raleigh Lions, 13-1. So the Tigers and the Lions play. Uh, Knoxville comes in. They had a big win last week, 51-24. Raleigh won 27-14 over Seminary, and another one of those teams, Raleigh, they have met one time. That was the 2022 state championship, and Raleigh beat Knoxville County 55-52.
Wow, defense optional there.
Yeah, it's like they didn't even show up, right?
I'm telling you.
So for Knoxville County, uh, Keen Goodwin, the quarterback, 1,550 yards, 19 touchdowns. He has rushed for 883 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. This past week, he carried the ball 23 times for 160 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he was 0 of 1 passing. Only threw the ball one time. Jaden Taylor, another senior running back, 25 carries for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. So 7 touchdowns between those two guys.
Wow. And I wonder if the weather may have played a role in that only one pass with him having, twice as many passing yards as rushing yards on the season. Of course,
Could
sometimes
have.
game plan, you get going, you get a lead, and maybe you just go out there with we're going to run the ball until they stop us. And, who knows?
Yep. So Coach Teddy Young's in his 7th season, 68-28. This is his 4th straight state championship game. It's 5th overall since he has been at Knoxville County. But Knoxville's last championship win, 2017. They're 5-6 all time in the championship games. They won it in 08, 12, 14, 15, and 17.
All right.
So no stats on Raleigh, another team that from the South that we don't have stats on. We know that they won the 2022 state championship over Knoxville County, 55-52. They're 1-1 in state championships. They lost to Amory in 1995. And then game 2 on Saturday, the Class 2A matchup is 3:30. The 13-1 East Webster Wolverines taking on the 12-2 Heidelberg Oilers, and a big matchup between these two teams. And East Webster comes in 0-2 all time in the state championship games.
Okay. They're playing Heidelberg, huh?
Playing Heidelberg. And then you got this is the team we talked about last week that had the dual threat quarterbacks. They got 2 quarterbacks, and talking about exactly what they do in this win over Kemper County, 21-14. Cross Avon was 5 of 12 for 120 yards for a touchdown. Cooper Stidman was 5 of 12 for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. So those guys, what do you get?
Yeah. Here's one, take the other. They're still throwing dimes and touchdowns and whatever.
And R.T. Moy, 16 carries, 85 yards. That win over Kemper County. Coach Ron Price in his 9th season there trying to pick up that elusive state championship for East Webster. Heidelberg, on the other hand, they won the state championship last season, beating Charleston 30-6 after losing to Charleston 26-22 in 2023. So this is their 3rd straight uh, go at it to play for the championship.
Well, the beating Charleston's saying something because Charleston's also one of those programs that's got a really good team year in and year out. Obviously, I mean, back-to-back state championship appearances the last 2 years, splitting with Heidelberg there.
Yeah, 1-1 all time in state championships, and both of those in the last 2 seasons. So, are we going to keep going with all North, or are we going to change it up on this one?
Um, I mean, I got to go with the dual quarterback threat there. Not necessarily the same thing with Nash Morgan using his legs, but you got 2 guys that can toss the rock. So, I think East Webster's going to get it done. And going back to the other one, I think Knoxville County also. So I'm 6
Yeah,
North already.
yeah, I'm with you, and I don't know if it's going to change as we go into the game 3 on Saturday, the 7A, Tupelo 13-1, Gulfport 11-2. This is the first time these two teams have ever met, and Coach Ty Harden is looking for back-to-back state championships. They won it last season. Tupelo's 2-4 all time in the championship game. Won it in 24 and 92. They lost it in 1923, 1990, 91, and 2013.
Well, Tupelo's got those backs, and they are running the ball. I know that they didn't have passing stats to say much for this year, but when you got those backs, you don't have to have passing stats to say much for.
Yeah, and the win over Oxford, Jaden Hill was 1 of 1 for 4 yards, and Braylon Williams was 3 of 4 for 44 yards. But then you got Kylan Bobo, 20 carries, 102 yards. Jaden Hill, 23 carries, 172 yards. And then Braylon Williams, 12 carries, 82 yards. So they're going to
Yeah,
run at you all night long.
like when you really talk about a stable of running backs, Tupelo is that school. They're that
Yeah.
school. They just are.
And of course, Gulfport's coming in, and they have never won a state championship. Their only appearance, 1982, and they lost to West Point. So the very first year they brought the state championship back, they lost it to West Point. But they've got a couple of guys to keep your ears open for. Senior quarterback Parker Nettles is 178 for 269, 2,600 yards, 22 touchdowns. He was 15 of 18 last week over the win at Brandon for 228 yards and a touchdown. And then Cooper Crosby, he had 21 carries, 188 yards, and 4 touchdowns last week.
Wow. Well, and think the thing that jumps out on the page to me at 15 of 18 in a South half game like that, kid's
Yeah.
got accuracy. Kid has got accuracy all day long, and that's one of those things. I mean, that's just a talent that kid has, obviously. So, and I think Ronnie too. We're picking all these North teams, but it's also who we're more familiar with. So we're not necessarily knocking the South teams. We just don't know much about them.
Yeah, I mean, as I've been digging and doing the research on them, I mean, I kept seeing these numbers jump out at me, like the quarterback at Gulfport there, and I'm like, man, that's pretty good. But then I still look and say, well, Tupelo is Tupelo, man. Their only loss is to West Point, and West Point is beating everybody. I'm going to say Tupelo. I'm going 7 for the North. Somebody's got to lose and make us look bad, but right now I'm going 7 for the North.
I'm with you. I mean, I just those back again. I just got to say those backs. I can't go against
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So I guess we've got our picks in, and we'll start watching the games on Thursday. We'll see how it's gonna go. I look forward to some good games and getting to watch some good football.
That's right, and we'll see how the North fares. I mean, like you said, somebody's got to win it, and more likely than not, it's going to be more of an even split. 4 from the South, 3 from the North, 4 from the North.
Right.
Something like that is probably how it might pan out. But it's still fun. We get to call them and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. So that's our picks, and we do want to thank our sponsors, Charter Road Hospitality, Domino's Pizza, who we didn't give a Player of the Week this week, but we'll be back next week and we'll have our Players of the Week. And as football season wraps up this weekend down in Starkville, um, and then everything else gets cranked up. I know I've talked to some soccer coaches and some other coaches this week. So we're going to be talking a lot about them. Next week will be our last show for this year. We'll be back in January when school gets going again. But man, I'm just looking forward to football wrapping up, spring sports getting started, and man, before you know it'll be football season again.
I know. Don't blink. Don't blink.
It goes quick. So, Josh, man, it's been a fun few episodes we've got to do so far this year. And we always say follow us, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you know anybody that would be interested in doing some sponsorship with us, we're actively looking for that as well.
That's right.
So, anything, any surprise if you had to pick one team, maybe from the North that you don't think might win?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to pick against an undefeated team like Simmons, even though we've been on Calhoun City all year. I know it's the first game, and the other wild card in all this is the weather that's coming
Yeah,
in, and what's it
absolutely.
going to be like, and all weekend, and so a little bit colder, maybe wet, may play into some teams' favor. So maybe running is going to end up being better if it is cold and wet versus trying to toss the ball all over the place. So in that case, maybe East Webster has a little struggle if they have to run the ball more than they're used to doing. So,
That
and who
was the
knows,
only one
maybe
I was
not.
thinking about. That was the one I was thinking about. You're looking at field conditions. The Egbo was just played there last Friday, so uh, field conditions might factor in weather. But that was the only one I was concerned about was East Webster Heidelberg. So, but I'm gonna remain with my pick, and I'm going 7-0 for the North. So, but man, what a fun first half of this season that we've got to do this show, and we've had some guests on. We're going to have a lot more guests coming up, and it's just been fun, Josh. Right? Yeah. Yeah, band members, chorus, I mean, anything. It does not have to be an athlete. We're North Mississippi Game Day, but we just want to feature those good feel good stories and uh, share with everybody in the state of Mississippi. So we're going to get out of here. That's our picks, and we thank you for joining us. For Josh Guest, I'm Ronnie Williams. We'll see you next week with more North Mississippi Game Day.